to a point in your life that you're like, things that I used to think were important are not important anymore. Like I used to value spending time with family or spending time with people. And now I've gotten to a point where I want to protect my time and energy because that means everything to me is my time and energy. So I think it's interesting when you get to a point, and maybe it's just the frequency that's going around or what's going on in life. You get to a point where you're like, I'm at peace with this life because I know that whatever I do, it's going to get better. And I think that's the beauty of it, is realizing that my life is going to get so much better because I'm putting that time and effort in to manifest what I need to manifest or process what I need to go through. And I think that's really interesting when you get to that point in life where you're like, things that used to matter to me don't. So I don't know if that's wisdom or maturity or both, realizing that the things that matter to you the most is your sleep, your peace, and healthy people around you that want the same thing as you. And I think that's the beautiful part of life, is realizing that wherever you're at peace with your life. If you have all the money in the world or you have nothing in the world, it's perspective. Because when you realize what the overall goal is in your life and where you're supposed to go and where you are today and where you are like overall in life, you're like, okay, so I'm supposed to do something different than I've done before. And my life is a whole different process than it was a year ago or even 2 years ago. And just realizing when you're walking down that path of accepting life or accepting what's going around you, you're kind of at peace with it because there's stuff going on in the world that's kind of out of your control. And that's the beauty of when you realize that things are out of your control. And you just have to trust the process, or trust what's going on, or trust the path that you're on, because you're on a path that the divine wants you to be on. And when you get to that point, then it really doesn't matter what's going around you or what's going around you, because it's temporary and it's for educational purposes, whatever is going on. And at some point, when things change or they become easier or things align the way they need to align, then it doesn't really matter. And I think that's the point of wherever you wake up and you're having a difficult time because things are not going the way that you want them to, maybe you need to take a step back and look at it from a different point of view and realize that it's going the way that it needs to. You just need to take a deep breath or go for a walk and just look what's around you and look at things and say, hey, somebody's always going to have something to say about it, or they're going to have something to say about it because they don't agree with what's going on. They're going to disagree with you on your point of view. But it's your experience. It's your journal. It's your human experience that you're going through. So you can talk about it and you can do what you need to do. And the right people will come around and align with the divine because this is what you're supposed to do. And the rest doesn't really matter. Because if you are doing what you need to do every day and you're making a difference with your experiences, they're different than they were before. It doesn't really matter what other people say, because when you look back at your past journals or even overall your whole life, what you've accomplished, there's always things that you want to improve on or tweak, because if everybody did everything right the first time, then where's the learning process of what needs to go on? Like if everybody builds the car the right way and there's no recalls or issues, then people would just drive the car to 1,000,000 miles and they would never have to fix it. So there's a reason why parts break and things align where they need to align and things develop the way they need to develop, because you're not seeing everything around you, and that's okay. That's part of the experience of human, is every day you're going to get shown something new that you have to do or something new that you have to accomplish. So when you get to that point where you look at your life and you're like, okay, so everything around me was not comfortable all the time. And maybe sometimes it's even uncomfortable because it doesn't need to be comfortable all the time. You have to do your experience. So when you look at everything you've gone through as a kid, because early childhood shows you how you should be older, like certain experiences you go through maybe are not like lined up the way they need to be lined up. And maybe you have things that happen to you that are questionable that you didn't like. You got to look at something through a different point of view, or maybe even a different perspective. Because if everything happened the way it needed to, then where's the learning process? Like, where's the learning process of what's going on? If everything aligned the right way the first time and there was no like issues or there was nothing wrong, like nothing bad happened to you, like who would you be at the end of the day? Like everything that's been going on in our world since the beginning of time till now. So since zero till 2025, if you look at everything in history that happened and why it all happened and why it all lined up, then you can see the patterns that are happening, and then you can even go in and change certain patterns because you're looking at your experience through your point of view. Now, if you talk to somebody else, they're looking at their experience through their point of view. So everybody has some kind of detail or value they can bring to the collective around us. If it's good or bad, you just have to make a decision on it about what you think is right or what you think is wrong. Because at the end of the day, you're having a relationship or an experience, you as a human form, with the divine. So it's you and the divine. It doesn't matter about what other people say or think because they're having a different experience with them and the divine. So when you get to that point where you're like, I'm having an experience, it's me and the divine walking around, or me and the divine working or doing whatever's around me, and just looking at things through that point of view of this is what is going on, this is what I need to learn, this is what I've learned, that I have to have an awareness of what's going around me or what's going on, because maybe somebody treats you unfairly in a situation. Like you're like, example, you're in the grocery store in line and the cashier is really rude to you and you're wondering why. Like you're just going to the grocery store to get some basic needs, and the cashier is just really like nippy and rude and just like, and you're just like, okay, so you pay and then you leave and you're like, what's that about? And then 2 hours, 3 hours go by, you come back to the grocery store because you forgot something. You were making a cake and you forgot the eggs or whatever, and you come back and it's the same cashier, and you're like, so like, I came here earlier and you were just in a bad mood, and it really bothered me why you were in a bad mood. So I was curious what was going on. If you don't mind sharing with me why you're in such a bad mood, because it bothered me. And then I contemplated my interaction with you and thought, like, did I say something rude, or was I out of line or something? So you're analyzing that whole situation. And the cashier's like, no, it's just me and my wife are having a situation and I'm just taking it too personally. I'm really sorry. Oh, okay. So then you clear up the confusion on that. And that's kind of like how life should be. Is not every interaction is going to be like line up and be perfect and everything's going to go to par and everything's going to be like really nice. Like you're going to have an interaction with somebody and they just don't like you, period. And there's nothing you can really do about it. Like you can apologize and that's pretty much like all you can do. Like there's some people in this world that are just so uncomfortably miserable, and you have to get to a point where you have to be mature enough, maybe confident enough, empathetic enough to realize that whatever they're going on in their life, maybe I need to like give them some kind of like, maybe not comfort's the right word, but give them some kind of like at ease of what's going on. Like they're having a hard time, they're having a financial issue and they're taking it personally because they can't process what's going on at this moment. And that's okay. But if you have this like energy or this vibe that's about you that you're just like, okay, so that person is bothered by something and there's nothing I can really do about it right now in this moment. Maybe I could just talk about it with the divine. Maybe I can contemplate it for a couple hours and then let it go. Like that's as far as it goes. Or maybe you can like pull that person aside and say, hey, so I'm really curious what's going on, why you're not having a good day or what's going on. Like there's different like levels of empathetic empathize or empathy with people. So when you get to that point where you want to empathize or be empathetic with other people, it goes so much farther than just doing a transactional um, thing with people. Like when you get to a point and not everything is transactional, and you just realize that this person's having a moment and it's kind of out of your control. Like you can't go in there and you can't manipulate what's going on and make them change their point of view. You can just be kind and loving, and that's it. Like if more people would do that in this world, but people in this world don't want to do anything. They want to just be triggered by everything around them and be all so angry and uptight and not look at their own self and realize why something was said that they get triggered about, and then they're just like, attack, let me attack you because something you said triggered me, but I don't want to be mature enough to take responsibility of being triggered. So when you get to that point where you're like, okay, let me take responsibility of my side of the street and let me deal with what I have gone through. And when you get to that point where you're like, I'm going to take responsibility and I'm going to be accountable for what I've done or what I'm doing, because it's not just past tense, it's present tense and future tense. So, and it kind of doesn't really matter what you did in the past because it's a learning experience. Like you're going through this whole human experience and you're learning. You're trying to evolve into whatever you want to be. If that's a better person or you want to be a better um, person, part of the collective, you want to be a better collective member, or you want to be an earth angel or whatever you put it in the category that you want to put it in. But a lot of people, they want to put people in check because they think that if I put you in check and I tell you what you're doing is wrong and you're stupid and incompetent and all these things, they put you in they pin you in a little corner because they know better than you do. It just shows like the whole ignorance of what's going on in their life. So people will project what's going on in their life, excuse me, and say things. And if you just take it from a compassion point of view of, okay, so you're really snippety about something, but you have to take responsibility of it. So if you want to misunderstand what I'm saying and get all bent out of shape about it, then that's on you because I take responsibility of what I'm doing. And the whole point of interactions with other people is trying to learn how you need to evolve yourself or learn to get along with other people. Because when you get along with other people, and there's going to be people that just don't like you because they don't like the way you talk or the way you look or smell or dress or any of those categories, they'll just judge you for whatever. When you get to that point where you are who you are and people are gonna like not like you for who you are, then it takes you out of that equation because you, at that point, it really doesn't matter what that other person thinks because you are a mere reflection of them. So when you're evolving into whoever you need to evolve, you're going to show them things that they need to work on. You're going to show them things that they need to be. But if they don't want to do all the shadow work, or they don't want to do all the other stuff, and they just want to like nip at your heels about every little thing that you're doing and saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just a fucking idiot because I've experienced it this way. And you don't know what you're talking about. Like, okay, that's valid. So that's how you feel and that's what you think. Like, you think that and that you feel that. Okay, that's great. We're getting somewhere. But when you get to that point that you're like, people get triggered because you don't do something for somebody else and they get mad and they'll block you or they'll ignore you or whatever the situation is, they'll act like a little child. That's okay, because when you realize that you didn't do anything wrong, or you are not harming anybody or hurting anybody or like doing anything that you think is unethical, when you get to that point where you're like, okay, those, like, they show you who they truly are and you're okay with that situation, and you're just like okay, like, I understand that. I don't agree with that, but I don't need to agree with that. And I think when you get to that point in life, whatever age you are, then you look at things through a different point of view, and people say stuff to you, and you either comment or you ignore it, or you're just like, whatever. Might be the most freeing place to be at, because somebody's always going to put their 2 cents in about something, whatever the scenario is or whatever the situation is. They'll put their 2 cents in, and it's just whatever. Like, it really doesn't matter, because in the whole big theme of what's going on, they're just having a quote unquote bad day, if you want to call it that. And you're going to realize that that maybe those people aren't your people, or maybe you need to teach them something, but they're not ready to hear it at the moment, or they're not on the same wavelength. Like, they want to fight with you about it, or they want to just like argue with you about a situation. And you're going to say your point of view because this is what you've experienced and this is how you've experienced, and this is the whole idea of journaling, is you've experienced it this way and this is how it happened, detail by detail. Like, I drove down the freeway, I was going this speed, and the person pulled out in front of me and I had no space to either hit them or go in the bushes. So when it's that detailed in that situation and you get to that point where you're like, this is what's going on and this is how I'm going to make it better, then you contemplate about what's going on and you think about it from a different point of view, and you're like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Maybe it's not going fast enough because things take time to calibrate or things take time to align. Then you're not really like worried about it, because you're like, okay, if I'm supposed to do something or say something or be somebody and the universe is protecting me, my angels are protecting me, I am protected, I am taken care of, then it really doesn't matter what else is happening. Like, you're going to make a choice in a situation and you're going to hope that you did the right thing in that situation. And you might not know now. It might take you months or days or years to realize that you did the right thing in that situation. And that's kind of the whole point of this experience as a human, is realizing that some people are going to disagree with you. They might even not like you. They might not like what you're saying. But does that ultimately matter in the whole big theme of what's going on? It's just food for thought, because everything in this world happens. Some things you don't know about, some things you don't really care about, some things happen and you're like, okay, that's awful. That's disgusting. But there's a bigger picture going on that you're not seeing. Like, you're not seeing all the little details. Like, if you build a foundation, when the foundation is done, you didn't see all those little angles that you had to cut for the tile work. You didn't see, like, you don't see that now or then. You see it later. So it's like, that's how you got to look at something, is every little angle is different, because maybe the timing isn't right to see everything right now, or maybe you need to experience things and look at stuff through a different point of view. And then years later, you look at it now and you're like, huh. So my point of view have changed because of these little things that happened. And I think that's the beauty of it, is realizing that everything is possible. You just have to believe in yourself, believe that you can accomplish it, that it's possible. I can become successful millionaire or whatever, billionaire, trillionaire, whatever you want to accomplish. It doesn't matter where you are now. It matters where you're going.